Okay, so today we'll discuss about Terraform modules. So what is a module is, all these days we have written a lot of configuration files like main.tf, providers.tf, terraform.tf, variables.tf, outputs.tf, terraform.tf, vars. All these we are going to keep into one bundle using the Terraform modules. And with that, we are going to get the reusability. So we are going to get the reusability, and whatever the resources we want to provision, those modules we are going to use together, and we are going to reuse those resources. So we are going to reuse those resources. So that means if you write the configuration files, we don't get much benefit. Okay. So that's, we are going to use the modules. By using the modules, what is the advantages? Like we are going to get the reusability, and like we are going to get uh, for multiple environments, again you no need to prepare different configuration files, and across the multiple projects also we can reuse them. So that's kind of collaborative environment is possible by using the modules. So now if we go for any of the programming kind of terminology, first we'll do through command line, we are going to perform the operations. After that, we'll write the code. After that, we'll develop the frameworks, or we'll call those as module driven. What is the advantage of the module is, we just can call that module and we can reuse those modules. Again, we no need to develop that complete module. So that kind of faster development is possible by using the modules even in the programming kind of thing. Those we may call as the frameworks kind of thing in the programming language. In the automation, we are going to use the module driven. So what is the advantage of the modules are, already those modules have been developed. We just need to reuse them, and we are going to use that. Then what is the main advantage is, again you no need to develop all those, we just can reuse them. So that is the main advantage of using, the modules. So what is the main advantage we are getting by using the modules? So more reusability will get, and I'll tell one use case. Now here we need to create an EC2 instance. So in the EC2 instance, we need to create lot of resources. But if that module is available, just we can call that module. And for dev environment, same module we can use. QA environment we can use. For staging environment also we can use. For production also we can use the same module. In the same way, other projects also want to use that, that module can be developed. That means even the companies also are developing the modules, and with that they can share across the multiple projects, multiple teams, and multiple environments also. And not only that, even Terraform also is providing collaborative modules, and everyone can reuse them. In the job interview, we are going to reuse those modules itself, but in the interview, we should be able to explain, even from the scratch also, I can develop those modules. Okay, mostly in the job, we are going to reuse those modules, but in the interview, we are going to explain. We have developed even the modules from the scratch also, we have developed those modules. Okay, but 90% of the modules have been available as per our requirement, just we need to customize them. Okay, so then what is a module? We have all the combination of whatever the resources, multiple resources as a single folder structure we are going to maintain. Okay, so then so always after writing the scripting, like once we use the scripting for 3 to 4 years, we'll get the maturity of developing the modules kind of thing. Okay, so that kind of modules we are going to reuse. So that kind of modules, we are going to reuse them. Okay. So then what are the main advantages of using the modules here we are getting? So we are getting the reusability, and even we have the consistency as per our naming conventions, all those we can manage those standard kind of naming conventions, all these. Then we are going to use like scalability across the multiple environments we can use, and modularity we are getting, maintenance is easy, collaboration we are getting. Okay, so we have a lot of advantages of using the modules. So we have a lot of advantages of using the modules. Okay, and then we are going to use the faster deployment also. That means you no need to develop the complete scratch the code, and from that we no need to develop, just we can reuse those modules. Okay, so only the disadvantage is little complex kind of thing. We require to understand the good expertise. Maybe 3 years back, people used to work with the configuration files like all these days, how we created the VPC, EC2 like that. But today, most of the companies are using the modules. That to understand that modules a little complex thing, but once we understand, it's easy to manage. That learning curve and even it's little challenging to understand, but we need to get that kind of maturity. We need to work with the different modules to provision the resources, and debugging also is little challenging with the how that multiple modules have been calling one module output, how we are reusing. Okay, and even if you have small projects that not that much you reusable, but if you have a larger complex applications, then we can reuse them. And even we can manage the version management also, like we can have the multiple versions. That's advantage itself, but initially all these are challenging. Always whenever we are adapting the new automation frameworks, always the disadvantage of the automation is skilled resources are required, but that competency itself is giving the success for us. Means we need to build that kind of, the complexity has been increasing, right? That's we need to manage. That itself is going to give the success for us. Okay, so that's like initially we have the challenge. Dependencies also multiple modules, all these. Like once we got the expertise, these are easy to manage itself. Okay, so that for the 10 different projects, we need to copy that EC2. It's not only EC2, if we have 100 resources or 200 resources, those are little challenge to maintain. But with the modules, like we just can call that module whenever we want. So that's we can reuse that easily. We can reuse that kind of modules we can reuse. So that is the main advantage of using the modules. So that is the main advantage of using modules. So without modules, its manual work would be there. But if you use the modules, those are very easy to manage. Those are very easy to manage the resources. Okay. So when to use this in the most of the projects, like we have like large scale applications and reusability, multiple environments we have, and we want to like consistent need to be there. And across the projects also, say a lot of companies, if they have 10 to 15 projects, they're maintaining 2 to 4 shared like support team kind of thing. They're responsible to give these kind of modules, all those. That's not a separate team, but out of the 10 to 20 DevOps engineers in those projects, 3 to 4 shared, they are responsible to provide all these kind of things to that multiple projects. Then good collaboration we can get among the teams. Good collaboration we are going to get across the teams. Say we have only 5 resources, 10 resources, less than 5. Okay. So then like even 10 also better to go, because in the future it may grow. If you have less than 5 kind of resources and there is no scope to expand, then directly you can use the configuration files itself. You no need to go for reusable modules. So always in the frameworks or like in the functions, the main advantage is reusability we are getting. So what is the advantage of the reusability? Like we no need to develop again the complete code. We just can call that module. We just can call that module. Okay. So after explaining the modules, what is the next question people will ask us? How we are going to call those modules? Okay. And one more important thing is, what is the module folder structure? So what are the files we have in this module? So now here we have in the project root, say my main.tf, these things are called as root module. So in the root module, again, we have main.tf, variables.tf, output.tf, and terraform.tf vars. Then provider.tf file we have. Then in that, we are going to call the modules, whatever the modules we want to reuse, those modules we are going to specify. In the VPC, like is one module. That's VPC module we no need to develop. That's already we have. That just we are reusing it. And for the 10 different projects, and in that each project for multiple environments, we are going to reuse that. Okay, so then in the VPC, we have the main.tf, variables.tf, outputs.tf. Then one more module is EC2 module, security group module, S3 module. So then for the different environments, I'm going to maintain. Okay, so for dev, again, I'm going to maintain main.tf, variables.tf, terraform.tf, whereas for dev environment values, I'm passing. For QA, I'm maintaining QA.tf, whereas for production, I'm maintaining like this. For the multiple environments, we are calling those same modules and we are reusing them. Like this, if you have the multiple applications also, those also can be manageable through this. Those also can be manageable through this. And for the multiple projects also we are using. Now here the main.tf is the root Terraform file where we have the modules like VPC, security group, EC2, all these we have. And we are going to maintain those variables.tf for the root values are the global variables. And for the each environment also, those values we are passing through terraform.tf vars. Okay, that VPC, EC2, those are called as child modules. Those are called as the child modules we are calling. Okay, now in the VPC module, like in the root module, what we are calling is, we are calling the module. Okay, so now here what is this meaning is, so we are we are reusing the module VPC, and what is that meaning of source is, that source is where we are going to store that module. So in our scenario, dot means local directory. We have the modules directory. In that we have VPC. What is that meaning is, that module also, that VPC module we are reusing, that's we kept in, that we kept in the local directory, we kept that. And further, we are passing those values. Those values are like a CIDR range, and which region we want to create. Those I have shared those details. Means this only we need to use. That means the complete VPC module you don't need to develop. We are just reusing that VPC module. What are the values we want to pass? Those itself we are passing. Okay. Now here I'm going to reuse which module?
EC2.
EC2 module. In that, what are the values I want to pass? Those values I'm passing. Okay. So other environment also, those details they will pass. Just they're calling that module. Okay. So that is the main advantage of using the modules. For different environments, different, like the same module we can use, but we can call those modules what are the names we want. And in this use case, we have the different sources of modules we can keep. Can you tell me what is the module source we have used in the previous example? So we use the local file path. That means that VPC modules, all those we kept in the local file. From that, we are going to reuse them. Okay. So, but even we can download it from the Terraform registry also. So we can download it from the Terraform registry also we can reuse. Okay. Then we can use it from the GitHub repository also. Means that module code we can keep in the GitHub. That source we are specifying that. Okay. Or we can keep in S3 bucket also we can keep. Okay. So when we do that from the Terraform registry, if we keep that module, when we use the Terraform init, that module also is getting downloaded. That module also is getting download it and we can reuse that module. Yeah. Any doubts on this? Any doubts? So what is this? Like where those child modules we need to keep in the main module, we are going to call them. Mostly we are going to keep in the local file path, or we are keeping in the Terraform registry or GitHub repo, Git URL, or we are going to store it from the S3 bucket. We are going to keep it from the S3 bucket. We are going to keep, or from the web server we can store it, and from the URL we are going to use it. The local file path, say in this, like in the VPC module also I kept in the local file path, and I'm going to use the module keyword, and I'm going to call that module source I'm specifying. Okay, so now in this use case itself, we can specify the dot dot slash dot dot, meaning is, say that is the module is in the two directories, backside we have that module. So we have that is two directories, backside we have that module. Okay, so what is this meaning of dot is, in the local directory we have that module. Okay, in the local directory, say in our scenario, how the folder structure is, modules is that, in that we have module VPC I want to use, say otherwise I want to use like this, I'm going to specify. If it is in the two directories backside, then dot 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 I'm going to give. Now in the Terraform registry, like in that source is Terraform AWS modules, in that VPC AWS. And for each module, we can have a version also. That version of the module is going to download. If it is a higher version, even we need to do the update kind of thing. Okay, so when we do the Terraform init, that module update version also will download. That means all the modules which are developed by Terraform kept in the Terraform registry, we can reuse them and we can customize as per our organization naming conventions and our organization names also. Okay, then we are going to use GitHub repository also. That means the source where we are keeping, where the source we are keeping
GitHub.
in the GitHub repository, we are going to store that. Okay, so from there also we can give the
Model
git.
is a predefined folder.
It's a yes, yes. All that configuration files we have, right? For the EC2 instance, we have the resource block. All that already is there in that.
Okay.
It's a group of resources. Say in the VPC, we have VPC, subnet, route table association, NAT gateways, internet gateways. All that code is available. We are just passing those values itself. Okay. Or that module code we can keep even in the S3 bucket also, we are going to keep it. Even in the S3 bucket also, we are going to keep that module code. Or from the web server also, any of the web server URL also we can keep. From that also we can store. Okay. So that means what are the module sources we have?
Local file path.
Yeah, local.
Terraform registry.
Yeah, Terraform
GitHub.
registry. Yeah, GitHub
Git
repository or Git URL, web server URL, S3 bucket.
S3.
Yeah, so these are all the different. Say, then in the modules we are going to store. Now in the VPC main.tf, what we are keeping is all the resource blocks we are creating, but that is only for one time. And it have all the variables, all those also we have already, where outputs also will play vital role. The outputs also will play the vital role in the like modules, because if that I want to transfer the data or communication between the two modules, because I'm using AWS module, I'm using VPC module. So both I want to communicate. So then at that moment, okay, so we are going to manage both the things through
Output module.
output modules. Okay, that output is the input to the next module, or we want to pass the values also. Those details we can pass through output values we are going to use. Then here we are going to call that module. So now already module has been created, but here what I'm using in my main module, I'm just calling those module. I'm just calling those module. I'm reusing that module. Okay. So then here in my module already I have that variables also we have. That VPC name, VPC cider already. That values where I'm passing in my root module I'm passing. And that is calling my child module, it is calling. So all then finally we can that once we develop that VPC module, anyone can use that. And this folder structure also we need to understand mostly like the one of the advantage of the modules are everyone need to follow universal guidelines, naming conventions, folder structures. Then others also can easily understand. Say here instead of main.tf, if I keep vpc.tf, others may not understand. For variables.tf, if I keep inputs.tf, others may not understand. That's we need to keep the universal naming conventions we need to use. And any of the folders we have like a main.tf, provider.tf, terraform.tf, versions.tf, variables.tf, outputs.tf. Then we have the terraform.tf var file we are going to maintain. Okay, and we are going to provide the versions also for those. And we have locals that we'll discuss. Locals, the scope is only within that module only we are going to pass. Says for dev environment, I want to pass some values. Those are not universal for all. Only within the module I want to reuse. So like that, I'm going to keep modules. Okay. So what is the scope of the local variable is? So if we use the locals, the scope is only within that module itself is going to use. In other modules, that's not going to work. So now here try to understand very important. Now we created a VPC. That VPC or subnet I want to use in EC2 module. So it means how many modules we have? We have VPC is one module. EC2 is another module we have. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, so I have created outputs. Like what is the value I have, what is the output name I have declared is VPC underscore ID is the output value I have created. Then variables.tf I'm going to create. Okay, so in the root main.tf, like I'm calling that module, then I'm calling EC2 module also. Then here try to understand. For the EC2, I want to allocate the VPC ID. So which VPC ID I'm allocating? Module dot.
APC model.
Yeah, module name is VPC underscore ID. What is that?
Output of
Output of,
VPC model.
yeah, VPC of that VPC module. You got it right? That means in the another module, that output we are calling this. In another module, we are calling that module. So for that purpose, we are going to use For that purpose, we are going to use output values. Okay. Then this EC2, while creating, is using that VPC ID. And even implicit dependency also is managing in this way. Implicit dependency also is managed. And in my main.tf, I'm creating those resources. Okay. So that means module output is the input for another module.
resource.
And even in the providers, which providers are multiple providers, we have those all details we are keeping. And outputs also will play the vital role in this. Okay, so now for most of the modules are inbuilt available in this, we just need to reuse them. Okay, so here I'll go for so in the GitHub, most of the modules are available. Or from the Terraform registry also, they'll give that GitHub source code. Because this is from the Terraform registry itself, that EC2 module we are using, or they have given that source code also for us. Now this is the module code. But for these modules, say here this we have main.tf, right? This main.tf code try to understand, and in the real time, what we need to tell is we have created this module code like that. We need to explain. Okay, so in the interview, how we need to project ourselves, like we have created those modules also. So like this, we need to explain. Okay, so we have created those modules and like try to understand at least 5 to 10 modules, like which are related to VPC, EC2, S3, IAM, okay, RDS. Those all you should project yourself, like I have created from the scratch. Then, like if you go to these modules, we are going to call those modules the child modules they kept in the examples directory. In that, they have one more directory like maybe complete or session manager kind of things. Okay. So here, if I go for the complete module, the complete EC2, then in the main.tf, okay, say we have some of that. So provider also one of the best practices, you can keep that one in provider.tf module and locals. So now here, which module we are using? EC2 complete is the module name. What is the source? Dot dot slash dot dot. What is that meaning is one directory backside examples we have. In the next directory backside, we have the main.tf and all those details we are passing here. All these details we are passing from here. Okay, so here we are going to pass those all the details we are going to pass. Then it's going to use like one more like maybe VPC, all those also like EC2 network interface, metadata. These all the different modules. These all creating different resources. It's creating. So now here we have this module, another module is using, that is VPC module. And what is the source here they have specified? What is the source it's specified? So that VPC module is, what is the source we have given? That's not locally. That's getting downloaded from,
Terraform and AWS.
yeah, that source is from the Terraform registry is getting downloaded. Okay, so what is the name? All those, instead of using the variable, we are using locals. The advantage of locals is the scope is only within the module. If you have the multiple environments, that can't be used in another environments. So just like variables, we have the locals we are going to use. Okay, so then here we have these private subnets we have, right? These all I'll explain, but try to copy that and use in the chat GPT, it will explain what that step. Try to understand each and every line, at least for 5 to 10 modules, and you project yourself. I have developed this complete code. In the real time, we no need to develop from the scratch, but what we need to do? So what we need to do?
We need to project, but we have developed it.
Yeah, we have developed like that, we need to project. Okay, so these, like, we'll go to, so we have AWS tutorial, right? Yeah, how many? We have 6 tutorials right here. Additional to this, so here we have this CLI. In the CLI, again, it's a revision, 16 tutorials we have. So we have Terraform plan, apply, but with the different outputs. Okay, so then configuration modules. So how many module resources we have? 10. So now use the registry modules. That means that VPC, what we have used is from the registry itself. And how to build a local module. Okay, so this is very important. You need to perform. First to go for, the, like that 6 things, then go for CLI, configuration language, modules, then state file. These all need to finish this. So each and every step documentation is available. You need to have the interest, need to set up that basic environment, and need to perform those operations. Okay. The modules, CLI 16 there, right? Everyone try to tomorrow need to do minimum 3 to 4 need to explain. So these all the lab. They will like a morning to evening you need to practice. If you finish all this, definitely will get the 3 to 4 years of expertise. Everyone will get 3 to 4 years of expertise with that. Then even we have the real project use cases also. These are the practice. Then we'll go for those project use cases. Okay.